All right, hello everyone. We're going to get started. Yeah. Okay. Hi everybody. It's a pleasure to have you all here. Thank you so much for coming out. We have a lot of food and drink. We would love for you to be able to take it home. If we have any left over and you know of any kids that would like some, please bring it to them. We want to make sure that we're not wasting any food at this event. Thanks to everybody who showed up online. It's great to have you here. I'm Brad Rogers. I'm the Executive Director of the South Baltimore Gateway Partnership. We're a community economic development authority funded by casino revenues that works in the neighborhoods of South Baltimore. It's a real pleasure for me to come here and be able to introduce a really exciting project that is happening here in Westport and Cherry Hill. And before I do that, I just want to also recognize, I believe we have some guests from the State Highway Administration here. We want to thank them for their participation. They've been an important funder of this work, along with the Maryland Department of the Environment. And we're very glad to have everybody here. I'm going to just do a little bit of like big picture stuff related to the waterfront. And then we're going to have another presenter who's going to talk about the actual specific project. But we're going to start off with Hope Williams from our board, who is a Westport resident and a wonderful human being, and is here to give some opening remarks.
Thank you so much, Brad. Good evening, everybody. Good evening, everybody.
Hey, hello.
All right. Thank you so much, Brad and Samantha, and to the partnership for allowing me this opportunity to stand before you all. When I was asked to give remarks, I had to think a little bit about the community that made me, where I came from. And so it's all about family and friends and individuals that reared me. So today I am giving remarks, not just on my behalf, but on the behalf of my family and friends. And so I have with us here tonight, I have Josie Baker, who's a Legacy Westport resident. Carolyn is a Westport Legacy resident. Caprice is a Westport Legacy resident. And for so many of us, my mother used to say, you need to know who you are. You need to understand where you come from so that you can plan and be a part of what's to come. And so with that, we remember Westport growing up here in this recreation center proper. So many of us had camps here. We had overnight events here. We were trained in community organization. We were tutored here. We had dance recitals here. There were birthday parties and weddings here. We learned culinary arts here. We were tutored here. We had science and math here. It was a vibrant community. This was our village, Westport, Mount Wine, and Lakeland, Cherry Hill. It was our world. We could walk from house to house, porch to porch, and feel safe. No home was closed to us. Everyone was family, and we took care of each other. We were village children. It says it takes a village. We had a blessed, beautiful village. We're proud of where we come from. We know who we are. But one of the things we are is that we're excited about what has been done and what is coming. And we want you all to know that we're here. We're ready to remain engaged. We're ready to be a part of solution making. And we want to, most importantly, be at the tables of economic ecosystem to be beneficiaries of that and to be good stewards. So thank you all so much for allowing us to be here tonight. Thank you, Brad. And thank you all to the partnership and to the Middle Branch Reimagine team. Thank you all.
I'm going to say for myself, I feel so blessed and so lucky that I get to be a small part of being of service to the Westport community, which has so many incredible, wonderful people who have just been so kind and so thoughtful and such incredible partners in this work. Let me first explain for those of you who are not familiar a little bit about my organization and what we do. The South Baltimore Gateway Partnership is a community economic development authority funded in large part by casino revenues. We work in neighborhoods across South Baltimore, going from Federal Hill and Riverside on the east, across through Westport, through the stadium area to Pigtown and Carroll Park, and then down through Westport, Lakeland, and Cherry Hill on the south. I report to a board of directors who by law must represent the neighborhoods that we serve. So I don't work for the city, I don't work for the state, I work for the neighborhoods. If the community members don't like our work, I get fired, they bring in someone else who does something different. So we are here to serve the communities in which we operate. And our strategy, our approach, our strategic plan is that the neighborhoods of South Baltimore have been suffering from huge deficits of access to open space, access to nature, access to healthy water, healthy air, access to one another. And so we want to have the best parks and public spaces and waterways in all of Baltimore down here in South Baltimore. We want to activate that public space, fill it up with life, and empower people to lead active, healthy lifestyles. And then we want to help our communities to leverage these improvements in quality of life to attract the kind of investment that they're looking for. We never want to dictate to people what that looks like, but we want people to be able, if neighborhoods want to be able to attract new residents, we want them to have the assets and amenities that allow them to do so. And that has been a real challenge historically here in South Baltimore, because South Baltimore is the heart of the Baltimore port system. And so there's all of this industry and all of these highways and all of these railroad lines that crisscross and divide up our neighborhoods, and divide our neighborhoods essentially into little islands that are separated from one another, islands that are separated from their own waterfront, islands that are separated from the region as a whole. And nowhere is that more clear than right here in Westport. I don't have to tell you, in wealthier neighborhoods like Canton or Fells Point or Federal Hill, access to the waterfront has been a way for families to build intergenerational wealth, to attract businesses, to attract residents, to build their local economies. But here, Westport has been cut off from that amenity. And if you live in Westport, you might be able to see the water from your home, from your bedroom window, but to get to it, historically, you've had to go under the power lines, over the light rail tracks, get a rope, climb down the 30-foot concrete wall, go over Plymouth Street, hop over the CSX track, pull out the bolt cutters, cut through the barbed wire fence, and then you get to the contaminated industrial land where there's nothing to do and they're not allowed to be there.
Yeah.
And then you wonder why it's so hard to raise a child, why it's so hard to be a senior, why it's so hard to attract people to live in your wonderful neighborhood that I personally cherish. The same is true from the Cherry Hill side. And if you look at Waterview Avenue, the whole south side of Cherry Hill can't get access to the waterfront here because we've built lots of stuff in the way. And while it's not as bad for the Cherry Hill side, the effect is the same. It might as well not be an amenity. It might as well not be there for the community. So because of this problem, several years ago, many years ago at this point, I'm getting older, we went through the Reimagine Middle Branch planning process. Some of you were probably a part of that process. We spent about 3 or 4 years having a bunch of meetings that resulted in the Reimagine Middle Branch plan, which was adopted in 2023. We started off with a year in which the community of South Baltimore just picked the design team they wanted to work with. So we had the communities interview the designers and pick who they wanted to work with the support of Parks and People. We then had the planning process where there were meetings, there were ice cream socials, there was a splash event at Middle Branch Park where people got to go kayaking and canoeing and fishing and fill out information. We went to community fairs and festivals. When COVID happened, we had online meetings so that people could all weigh in. And what we learned was something very interesting. And I really like these pie charts because they show 2 important things. What we heard loud and clear from the community is, yes, we want a living shoreline, which is not just rocks and debris, but we want life and we want water quality, and we want to be protected from floods, and we want there to be nature here. But we also want access. We want walking, running, and bike trails. We want shoreline trails. We want parks. We want to be able to access this beauty and use it for our own life purposes, because beauty and opportunity that is not accessible is not opportunity. It is, and so we have to correct the mistakes of the past and ensure that if we make things beautiful, they have to be accessible. And they can't just be accessible to new people who might come in, it has to be accessible to the legacy residents who have been here. Heard that loud and clear. And that is what undergirds the Reimagine Middle Branch plan, which we're now implementing to improve 11 miles of shoreline and make connections and improvements out into the surrounding neighborhoods, so that there is high quality of life for the legacy residents of South Baltimore. We're here to talk a little bit, if I can do this, that work? Just supposed to say Middle Branch Resiliency Initiative. We're here to talk about Smith Cove, right here at this side, which is part of a larger, part of a large group of projects, all to restore the living shoreline of the Middle Branch. And we're going to start down here. We've been working our way north, and we're going to start here in Brooklyn and work our way up through Cherry Hill to show you the work we've done so far. A couple years ago, we had a big groundbreaking for the start of this work. Here, we're looking at Hanover and Poche Streets going north. This is Brooklyn, this is Cherry Hill, this is the Middle Branch Fitness and Wellness Center, this is Harbor Hospital and the Hanover Street Bridge. You can see that these are very degraded places, filled with trash, or feet of trash, eroding terribly. All the plant species are invasive, they're not from here, they're choking out all the life, the ecological dead zone. And so what we did is we built a stone sill, we backfilled it with clean sand and organic material. We planted hundreds of thousands of native plants, built out into the water that looked like this. This is the excavator for scale, so it's a pretty big. Done with the equipment. The big yellow trucks are still there. Wildlife began returning to this site because they've been waiting the same way that people have been waiting for high quality of life, decent access to the environment. The nature was also South Baltimore. So we got these built. This picture was from last fall. And then we moved up to here around Harbor Hospital in Cherry Hill. And this is from a couple weeks ago. This project's about 90% done. 2,000 linear feet of restored wetlands. Now, we're just planting it up now and getting it ready. But it's now there. And remember I said, it's not done until there's access. And so we're designing a $3 million trail enhancement around there. There's the existing, very 30-year-old, very poorly maintained Middle Branch Trail there. We're planning trail enhancements, particularly focusing on the connection between the hospital and the Middle Branch Fitness and Wellness Center. And what we want to be able to do is convert that section of the trail to a wellness trail so that people either coming out of the fitness center or the hospital can walk along the trail, use exercise equipment, get healthy, and enjoy access to this new water. Which brings us now to what's called Smith Cove. Smith Cove is the historic name for the intersection where Westport and Cherry Hill come together, that corner. And the problem with that corner, aside from the fact that it's very hard to get to, is that you can see from space a huge stormwater outfall that dumps untreated stormwater into the Middle Branch. What that means is that every time it rains on 295, if that rain picks up all the yucky stuff coming off the cars and shoots it at high velocity right into your water. And that's why the water is not dirty because people here are polluting it. It's dirty because there's 314 acres of land stretching out into the beyond the city limits that is dumping dirty stormwater into the Middle Branch. So we want to solve that problem while also improving habitat and improving access. This is happening though in the context of a much larger project, and I would be remiss if I just pretended it wasn't happening. So I want to make clear how all this fits together. This is the Westport waterfront. This is north is that way. This is 95. This is 395. We are over here. This is Cherry Hill and Waterview Avenue. This is the light rail. And as you all know, I'm sure know, the waterfront is being developed. And as the waterfront was being developed, there were very strong voices from the community that said, we don't want there to be a private open space along the water because we will feel unwelcome. We will not feel safe, comfortable, invited going there, worrying that we're going to get arrested for picnicking while. So we have to make sure that that waterfront is world class and part of the Baltimore City Park system so that we can go there anytime. And we need to be able to get there without a car. We need to be able to get there on foot from the neighborhood. We said, great. So we signed an MOU, a written legal agreement between ourselves, the city, the landowner, and the Westport CEDC, saying that we were going to create an 11-acre waterfront park, $30 million waterfront park, that would achieve all of those goals while supporting mixed income housing, including both affordable apartments right here, market rate townhouses, and affordable house rehabs in the community dealing with vacants. All of this would happen at one time, and that would all be supported by the Smith Cove wetlands we're going to talk about today. So this is now happening. The design is largely complete. There will be a network of trails along the water. The old industrial piers for the Karl Lowry glass factory are going to be converted to fishing piers because people in South Baltimore like to go fishing and they want to have access to that. So all these trails will be publicly accessible. Part of the Baltimore City Park system, once the land gets donated to the city. There's going to be, if you come down Wenburn and go underneath the light rail tracks, you're going to come right into a big nature-based play area. Unlike anything else in the city, an incredible amenity for children. Then there's going to be a big outdoor classroom and community gathering space for community meetings in the park, weddings in the park, movies and concerts in the park. Kids could put on plays in the park if you want. And then beyond that, there's going to be this natural cove, which comes right down to the water. So again, you know, access is everything. Everyone can get right down to the water and could launch a kayak or canoe right there into the water or just stand there and enjoy it. And we have been working with local nonprofit partners like Kayak Black, which specializes in helping communities of color rediscover the waterfront. And Canton Kayak Club and other local partners who are all basically stand ready to have free or low cost access to the waterfront. And at the heart of the park is going to be the memorial to the Baltimore Black Sox. For those who are not aware, the Baltimore Black Sox are one of two astonishing Negro League baseball teams, in my opinion, the greatest of the two baseball teams that played here in Westport. Winners of the 1929 American Negro League title. We're working with Parks and People on this, Dr. Frank Lance. There's going to be at the heart of the park a sculpture garden of bronze statues that represent these incredible people. The idea is that in the first year, when the park is built, there will be 3 statues to start off. And then every year after that, they'll add another one and another one and another one so that there's this regular cadence. Kids from the school and from here can go down and be part of the unveiling ceremony, can learn about that proud local history. And most importantly, that proud local history is not ignored or overwritten. It's not off to the side like a plaque on the wall saying, by the way, there was history here. It's at the center, it's unignorable. It is at the heart of your experience where all the trails come together. Very proud of this park. The first phase of park construction on the south side of the Westport waterfront has just broken ground and is going to be happening between now and the spring. And that's going to coincide with the groundbreaking for the Smith Cove Wetland Project, which is right next door. For us, that distinction is really big and important because one group of people is working on one and one group of staff people is working on another. But for regular human beings out in the world who live in the neighborhood, it's all going to look like one big project. So we're here to talk about this part here, the wetland, but really the wetland is going to be a big part of the first phase of the park. And the wetland is also going to have a boardwalk that connects the new trail being created around the first phase of housing through the wetland down to Middle Branch Park in Cherry Hill. So now you'll be able to get straight down Wenburn, straight to the water, straight down here, across through the waterfront and down. The second phase of park construction, including the monument, the nature-based play area, the cove, and going north, will all be happening in 2028. We have to wait until they build until they do the site work for the second phase of townhouses before we build the park, because they've got to run all these utilities and do all this grading, and we don't want to put in some beautiful bushes and then a bulldozer comes through and ruins it all. So we have to wait for them. We expect that this will happen in 2028, hopefully be done by the end of 2028. But this part right here is already underway and happening now. And so what I'd like to do is hand the conversation over to Andrew Forbes from GreenVest. GreenVest is our implementation partner for these wetland projects. And he's going to talk about the wetland part that's going to break ground this summer.
Thank you all so much for being here. My name is Andrew Forbes. I'm with GreenVest. GreenVest is the implementation partner with South Baltimore Gateway Partnership. We've had the honor of working with them for a number of years at this point and bringing the Middle Branch Resiliency Initiative to life. So with MBRI, as we often call it, we're looking to invest in the community to achieve three primary goals. So that's improve water quality, improve habitat diversity, and improve shoreline resiliency for all 11 miles of shoreline along the Middle Branch. With our team here, the core team, we have SVGP and GreenVest, and supported by the City of Baltimore. But we have so many other stakeholders that have helped bring this to reality. A wide variety of project funders for this one particular project, the Smith Cove Project that we're here talking about today. Maryland State Highway Administration and Maryland Department of the Environment being the two primary funders for the project. At this point, we have a lot of work completed. We have two projects that were completed construction last year. We have one at MedStar Harbor Hospital now, wrapping up construction this summer. We have the Smith Cove Project, which we are kicking off this year, and we have a few other projects at various stages of design and permitting. So we have a lot of momentum. We have a lot of success that we've been able to demonstrate so far. We're really looking to continue to push all those lessons learned for these projects into Smith Cove to really deliver something special. All right, so at this point, I'm going to give everyone a little bit of overview about the design of the project, what to expect during construction, as well as kind of what construction is going to unfold and what that's going to look like and where we're at there. But again, just to kind of go over the three primary goals, because this is really our guiding light through all of these projects. Number one, improve water quality. And we all know that the water down the Middle Branch is not the cleanest. You don't want to touch it. You certainly don't want to get it around your face or anything like that. It's going to need a lot of help to bring it back to quality, which is safe for human contact. That's what we're working toward, especially with the Smith Cove Project, of providing that water quality improvements. We always hear about making the harbor swimmable and fishable by maybe last year it was. And I know we're probably a little ways off. But I think the main thing we want to do is we just want to make it as close to safe for contact as possible. The idea here is there's so many water-based activities that aren't swimming that we can do. Just going down to be able to touch the water, fish in the water, boat in the water. You want to be able to get a little bit of splash of the water on you without freaking out and feeling you got to go to the hospital. So we want to make sure that we're trying to incrementally make these water quality improvements any way we can with these projects. Improve habitat diversity. This is a really big one right now. When we go down to the water, we see there's water, land, maybe a little bit of rock, maybe some shrub, vegetation around there. It is not a diverse habitat. What we see here is what the Middle Branch shoreline would have looked like 200 years ago, before all of the development came in here. Basically cleared out the wetlands. There was thousands of acres of wetlands throughout the Middle Branch, and it provides this incredibly diverse habitat. This kind of green ribbon of wetlands that kind of hug the shoreline, where the Tapsco River, Gwynns Falls kind of came down here and emptied into the Middle Branch Harbor. So this does exist in Chesapeake Bay still, and we want to kind of bring this back to the Middle Branch. That's one of our goals. Improve shoreline resiliency. This is another big one. There's a lot of hurricanes, there's a lot of extreme rainfall events. These things are happening in greater frequency year by year. The low-lying parts of the harbor, other assets around the Middle Branch, they are at risk of flooding. And we want to do everything we can to stabilize, improve, and make the shoreline more resilient so it can handle those big storms when they happen, and when it's not going to affect the community as bad as it once did. The big thing here is we want to do we want to achieve these goals with each of our projects using natural materials to the greatest extent we can. So we are primarily relying on sand and stone, and then we are using the wood wherever we can to improve habitat structure and diversity, and then of course using all the native vegetation, variety of species to the projects. All right. So here we have Smith Cove. So we've got north is going that way along the screen. We've got Westport down here, Cherry Hill here, and Brad mentioned see the pollution from space. And that's what this image is kind of representing here. So this is a major storm drain outfall that comes down this part of Smith Cove and kind of like this hidden buried channel back there. But it is depositing lots of untreated stormwater directly in the Middle Branch. That's over 300 acres or so area that is coming down here and just going right into the Middle Branch. We can see it here with our own eyes. That is just pollution, that is trash. That is all that's grit and grime of the roads. Is everything that exists here that gets picked up by the rain and dumped in and has an adverse effect on the water quality. And so what we want to do is we want to build in a series of components that make up one big project that is the Smith Cove Project. So here, I've got a lot of different colors that we're just going to kind of walk through one by one so that we can understand the components of the project. So along the Westport shoreline, kind of in conjunction with the park improvements that Brad was talking about, we're going to be building a living shoreline. That is going to be a stone breakwater, which will be kind of out in the shallow water, and that will hold in and protect a ribbon of marsh, which will be full of tidal marsh native grasses and flowers along the entire Westport shoreline on that southern section of the developments. Here on the other shore is a much larger component. This is a stormwater wetland. So this stormwater wetland here is specifically designed to receive, capture, and retain all of the stormwater runoff that had previously gone into the Middle Branch untreated. We're going to route it into this wetland specifically for the purpose of providing that water quality improvement, providing that treatment, that filtration, allowing all of that bad nasty stuff in stormwater to settle down into a contained area so that it is not going directly into the Middle Branch. So we're thinking that this is going to provide incredible benefit from a water quality improvement standpoint for this corner of the Middle Branch. And here we have kind of an inspirational photo of kind of what we're looking at. You know, it's just going to be a series of meandering channels and pools and grasses, cypress trees, lots of different things that we're going to be building up that diversity of the habitat within that stormwater wetland. This red line that's going to go across there, we will be providing a structural solution, sheet pile wall to create that outer edge of the stormwater wetland. So this is going to be that kind of physical barrier that keeps that dirty stormwater on the inside of the wetland separated from what's going to be hopefully a cleaner Middle Branch open water condition on the outside of the stormwater wetland. Here we have the orange. This is representing that new trail connection that's going to be connecting the new Westport Park project with Middle Branch Park. So previously, there was a long walk that had to happen to get around from one side to the other, but we're gonna be having this big, beautiful boardwalk that's gonna be going right through our newly constructed wetland system. For it, kind of takes a turn, it goes up through the woods, and connects into the existing trail network, there at Middle Branch Park. And this is what we're working towards. So this is kind of the representation that we have of what this project is. We think this is going to be just really transformational, spectacular project. So we're just very excited at the stage we are right now as we're approaching the end of design, the end of permitting, and gearing up for construction. All right. Yes.
Order question and completion. How long, what's the time frame?
Good question. Perfect timing. We've got the information right here. So we are looking to get started in the summer, early fall of this year. We expect the project to last maybe 15 months or so, and we want to be out of there by the end of 2027. We are both there.
Is there any way that no,
We try and move as quickly as possible. We know that construction can be disruptive. And really it's our job to just kind of staff up the crews as much as possible and get this stuff done as quickly as possible.
so could we say like next summer, could we get community, or that they can get a preview before?
Yeah.
The
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, and in fact, Hope is organizing a boat tour for the 10th of July, which I'll be leading. And if you want to join on that, we'll be going out on a boat and looking at it from the water side before construction happens. Everyone here is invited on the boat tour.
Yes, very nice.
Yeah.
Sure.
It's a Friday.
Oh, cool.
It's a Friday afternoon boat tour, so, you know, hopefully
Okay.
you can take a half day work and it'll be a nice.
Oh, it's on for 100.
Okay, all right, and it'll be great.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
Mhm.
All right, good. Work hours. People find out about that, by the way. Is there are you?
We're gonna do, we're supposed to set up an event for it, I'm not sure, but for now, you can email me, text me, and then I can get you all signed up and we'll be ready to go. And we're gonna try, and you can also contact Josie, from Eden. She's the community, relations person, outreach person. And I'm trying, because parking is a little challenging, I'm looking into having someone pick us up and take us down Brad, that they will on time, because it's a Friday afternoon.
Sure,
being-
sure,
being
yeah.
parking is a challenge. So I'm looking into getting, someone to drive us down and bring us back.
What-
I think it'll work out. So more details to come on that transpo, but we're definitely having it, Friday, July 10th. And it will be, we need to be down there by 3:30.
Oh.
So from 3:30 to 5. Yes.
Great. Work hours will be typical Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. This is coastal work and coastal production. We like to work with low tides. Whenever we always look at the tide schedule, tides are favorable, kind of earlier than 7 a.m. or a little later than 5 p.m. We'll be allowing the crews to kind of extend those hours based off their judgment. Again, we continue to kind of keep this thing moving forward as quickly as possible. Traffic. Dump truck material deliveries to the site from Waterview Avenue. They will probably mostly be coming and maybe from the east, and then making a kind of that right-hand turn into the site. This is a very material heavy type of construction. We bring in lots of stone, lots of sand. So there's going to be that kind of regular cadence of dump truck deliveries. They're not going to be queuing up on Waterview Avenue, but it's going to be maybe like one truck every 10, 15, 20 minutes or something like that. Noise, typical construction equipment noise, dump trucks, excavators. There will be a little bit of pile driving noise for the different components, whether we're driving piles for the boardwalk, we're driving sheeting into place. So some of this is achieved with called vibratory hammer, which is just kind of shakes the structure down. Other times we have to bring in an impact hammer. Those when you're going to hear the noise. That probably wouldn't be anything more than a couple weeks of noise disruption at some point in the project. Nothing too bad there. Middle Branch Trail will be closed through Middle Branch Park in that portion where we're going to be working. I'll show you a map on the next slide, but there will be a detour with the pedestrian route there. There will be no loss of parking. There will be no disruption to water, sewer, power, or internet, and regular updates to the community through email and signage will be provided by South Baltimore Gateway Partnership. Here we have the red area, which kind of represents schematically the project closure area. So we will be out in the water. You'll see a called turbidity curtain. It's kind of a long, very long serpentine yellow boom that'll be floating out there and delineate the extent of our waterwork construction and keeps all of the sediment water inside the construction area. And then you see here, we're going to have a little bit of closure along the trail that goes parallel to Waterford Avenue. Kind of when you're moving toward the west, just past the boathouse, there'll be a trail closure there that will get you down into a pedestrian detour, which will most likely take you along Waterview Avenue. You hop back up into the park, get on the trail, kind of continue towards Clinton Street that way. All right, next few slides, I'm going to kind of take you through some visuals, just so everyone can kind of better understand the steps of construction. So we've kind of borrowed some 3D renderings from a similar project, site down in Alabama. I think they do a really good job kind of representing the step-by-step nature of this work. So the big thing with this work is we are always out there first putting our stone perimeter around the project. The stone is the kind of outer protection for the wetlands that kind of keep them protected throughout their entire life. And also too, it's the first step of construction. So it kind of doubles as a construction access road for us. It kind of allows us to move around the site very efficiently so we can get material in as we go. For Smith Cove, there will be mostly the stone construction from the shore. For some parts of the project, we will be mobilizing barges out there, taking advantage of a little bit of the deeper water out there to help us where we can to kind of get this thing constructed quicker. Here we can see a shot of construction from MedStar Harbor Hospital, but just like I was describing, stone perimeter goes in first, and that is utilized by the construction equipment as our construction access road. Second step is we begin to bring all the sand, begin to fill in all the areas, raise the grade so that we can establish the elevation for the marsh grasses. That is going to require lots and lots of sand, similar to the stone construction. Dump trucks bring the sand, dump it down, excavators move it around, get it set to grade. After the sand goes in, grade is achieved, and we begin to put the finishing touches on the wetlands. We use a lot of wood throughout, builds in a lot of diverse habitat structure. Here we have turtle basking logs, logs that are set at correct elevation, allows all the turtles in the harbor to come up, bask when they want to. We have lots of different varieties of these kind of woody habitat features that support all the diverse wildlife around here. And then we begin to put in lots and lots of plants. As Brad mentioned, hundreds of thousands of plants between these sites get installed. Sometimes we get lucky and a native seed bank that exists under all the invasive species begins to kind of come back up on its own too. We've seen that in some of our other projects. You can kind of see how we have our woody habitat features kind of intermixed throughout the vegetated areas. You also see what does appear to be a very unattractive feature, which is the bird wire and bird fence. The geese would love nothing more than to walk through our branch wetland and eat each and every one of our new plants. Mm-hmm. So we have to put a perimeter mesh fence and a lot of string and little flyer things on to detract all of the animals from coming in and eating all of the new vegetation. So that's only a temporary condition needed for a few years as we establish the site, but it is something that is very important to the success of the project. This kind of gives another shot of all of these different features we've talked about: stone sill, sand, the wood, the vegetation, bird wire. All these things are components that get brought together to create the project, bring to completion construction. Again, working towards this So we'll get there soon.
So for that photo, is that 27 or is that later?
So this is fully established. It's a great question because it's a very important point here. You know, we are putting in very young new plants, and it takes 1, 2, 3, 4 years for them to fully mature and kind of achieve this full establishment. So it's, you know, we all want that kind of instant gratification, but there is a little element of patience for getting these sites established. You know, we can kind of see with the other work that we've been doing, it does happen, and it does take time. But where a big part of this is, and with GreenVest, our responsibility is not just to construct the project and walk away. We construct the project, and then we're there with the project for 5 years of maintenance and monitoring. So we are out there on a very consistent basis, just making sure that the plants get every helping hand they can to be fully established.
But the boardwalk will be built, the wetland will be there, the plants will be planted. It just won't look as lush in year one and will in year 3.
Yes.
And I'll also be curious of dormancy, where you're like, oh no, did they die? What's going on? It'll come back a little fuller each year, and just like in your regular gardening.
But it looked like we could really have an star.
Yeah,
exactly.
A bigger.
Has there been any thought towards like how we get young people involved in trainings and different jobs or workforce that they could be able to join in?
Yes, definitely. Right.
Absolutely. So we established Restoration Academy, a green jobs training program, specifically because if we're moving this many projects forward, we want to make sure that we're creating those community connections. So our partner Grow Home has been operating that program now for a year. The first cohort is about to graduate. We're about to enter their 2-week program. And if you know anyone locally interested in joining, let us know or give us your contact information and we can get them connected.
So this thing about.
Hey, training. And one of the things we're trying to do is not only do the training, have those people plant the plants or plant trees or, you know, do all the work that you need to do in the field, but then try and create player hiring programs where we can try and get them directly connected to organizations like GreenVest to hire people.
Okay, now we see if I can.
What about would there be also active involvement as far as like the long-term maintenance as maintaining these different areas that you start to build up?
Absolutely, yeah. So what we're going to do is we're going to set aside a pot of money. So GreenVest, what we're buying is for them to build it and then be here for 5 years. After 5 years, we're setting aside a pot of money for long-term what's called stewardship, and all of that is going to have to require hiring people to pull out trash, to replant plants, to deal with issues. And we want to be able to run as much of that as we can through the Restoration Academy. So I think we're getting the academy up and running now, so that can all be a job training program and an employment opportunity. All great questions. Exactly.
So, kind of going left field a little bit, because, you know, we've heard talk about dredging. So if there any way you guys are incorporating or any way or is it going to happen or not going to happen, you know, about it?
We will not be using dredging material.
Not on this project, but this dredging overall.
For this project, there's going to be a little bit of movement of the sediment river to shape the stormwater wetland to get it to the point where it meets the expectations of the state of Maryland for design and performance. If we're going to have to take a little bit of the river bed sediment here, kind of put it over there, it will all be essentially contained in the site itself. But there will not be export of dredge material out of the site.
But you know, or, you know, they talked about bringing the So it's pretty quick to look at it.
All right.
So that's what I.
Yeah, so this has nothing to do with anything.
Okay,
Nothing to do with
that's
that.
I didn't think it did, but
Yeah,
you know.
no, and the city does not want big ships coming in and out of private park.
Okay.
So projects, seems to address mostly the outer core or the middle branch. How do we reconcile the difference between what's going on in the core with what's going on outside the core, to outside the difference in terms of the development that's happening and that inner core as well as that's happening outside also
Right.
catching some of the benefits.
Right, so a lot of the work that we're doing with Middle Bank Resilience Initiative is specifically focused on the shoreline. So that's kind of, where the purview is. Brad can definitely speak to aspects.
Yeah, you're exactly right. So, I was trying not to speak for like an hour about all the things happening across South Baltimore. But needless to say, not only do all of our neighborhoods extend beyond the waterfront, but many of them don't even touch the waterfront. So we have Mount Winans, we have Lakeland, we have Pigtown, we have all kinds of neighborhoods that are not waterfront neighborhoods. There's a lot of stuff going on that's not about the shoreline. So whether that's, we helped build the Middle Branch Fitness and Wellness Center down at Cherry Hill. We are put 1.3 million, I think, into that's at Florence Cummings here, where there's a instead of construction plans which are now underway. We built the Pigtown, the Carroll Park Rec Center in Pigtown. That was a rec center that had been shut for 15 years, covered in graffiti, filled with garbage. We put about $4 million into it, reopened it. It's now the kids doing homework there all the time. We have housing programs that we operate. We have fun sports programs like the Westport Patriots, Cherry Hill Eagles, the Southwest Sports Fitness Program. We do a lot of different things around all of here. We pick up trash, pick up trash in many parts. We use My Father's Plan, which is a nonprofit that youth mentoring program that gives jobs to teenagers picking up trash in Baltimore. They all get paid. They all get youth mentoring. It's a whole program, and there are primary, so when there's a Ravens game and people end up trashing Big Town Main Street and Federal Hill Main Street, My Father's Plan comes to pick up the trash and clean up the neighborhood. So we have a lot of different programs that we operate. You're exactly right. We limited our presentation to just the shoreline, but even then I had to talk about the Black Sox, and we can't talk about the weather without the Black Sox. From there it goes.
Public bus tracks and all the projects.
Are we gonna pick up trash before we put down the wetlands?
Yes, we've got all the trash that we see around the project site before we start construction. We'll pick up the trash during construction, pick up the trash during maintenance and monitoring. Once we hand the project to South Baltimore Gateway Partnership, they'll continue to pick up the trash. Trash will have to stop. We're gonna have to pick it up.
And Karen Shackelford from Baltimore Community Rowing asks, what can voters in the area expect during the construction of this project? Will barges be lit in a way that they are visible in the dark? Will there be any impact to access to the middle branch for me?
It's a great question. We are going to be protecting the perimeter of the site with a floating boom. It's highly visible, yellow, can't miss it out there. The barges will be inside of that floating boom too, so that boom will essentially be that protective outer perimeter. Aside from moving a few barges into and out of the waterway, past Middle Branch Marina, there will be no impacts to boating outside of the project here. Yes.
Maybe I missed it, but I see how you can get in from Middle Branch, but is there anything actually to Westport, like getting a
Yeah.
So let me back up. We've got a lot of slides, so give me a moment. So during the first phase of park and wetland construction, you'll be able to come straight down Wenburn Street, go underneath the light rail tracks, because there's that overpass there, and come walk straight down here, and then you'll be along the waterfront trail and be able to get over to the western edge of Middle Branch Park. When the second phase is built, that's when you'll be able to also use everything in the center of the park. You'll notice that all the major amenities of the park are right there where Wenburn comes down. We wanted to be as close to the neighborhood as possible, as physically accessible on foot as possible. So you come underneath there, there's a nature-based playground, there's the Black Sox Memorial, there's outdoor classroom and outdoor gathering space, there's the waterfront cove. All that's right there, and then you can turn to the left or right and go either way. So that's what'll be in the future, in 2028.
Will there be any improvements to that under?
I'm sure we're working on that now. There's a beautification project where a local artist team is trying to get permission from MTA to do some murals and to bring in local kids to help to paint those murals. We don't own the structure, so it is painful to get that to happen, but I believe we'll get it to happen. And then I'm sure that once everyone is moving back and forth and wanting to get there, if people want to put up LED lights to make it pretty or whatever, we'll figure all those details out together once there's a user base going back and forth and we know what they need and why.
While we're here, there was a question online about affordable housing options as part of this.
Yes.
You want to go back a few slides that show that proposal?
Yeah, so this is sort of an old rendering. The wetlands a slightly different shape, but the Westport waterfront, the One Westport development project is broken up into a bunch of different elements. Parcel B in the center is the townhouses that are being built now. Parcel A down at the corner, where New Cloman Street and Waterview Avenue come together, that is going to be what's called a LIHTC, a low-income housing tax credit apartment building. I think it's going to be something like 140 units of affordable rental, permanently affordable rental on the waterfront. And then we are working with a variety of different partners to help get vacant housing currently in the neighborhood converted to for sale affordable purchase properties, and working with a variety of scattered site owners who have been trying to get their and we're offering basically providing subsidy to those owners to be able to get their properties turned over. And we would like to work with Hope and other community members. And if any of you know people that are either from Westport or looking to return to Westport, maybe have left the neighborhood and want to come back and want to live here, we'd like to be able to prioritize getting them into those homes first.
So, you talked about the housing, at one point, they were talking about a place for seniors or something like that, is that been put on the back burner or not considered at all, or?
Right, so I'm not the developer of any of this, so we're just trying to support everybody. My understanding is that this waterfront will, that if there is senior housing, it would be down here in parcel A, but I don't know whether it's going to be affordable senior housing or just affordable housing. I don't know exactly the details for that. But the important thing is that unlike the normal way that things are done in Baltimore, built into the waterfront is permanent affordable housing, so that you never have a situation where it is all one type of people here and all another type of people there. And what we want to be able to do is work with community residents and community leadership to figure out how we can do the same thing on both sides of the light rail tracks, so that as we're getting houses renovated, people that want to move into them from the neighborhood can be there. And then if there's if once they're done getting what they have, we can help the community bring in new residents to raise families and enjoy quality of life there.
Speaking of the light rail, what kind of security measures are going to be in place? Because you know it's a lot of traffic.
Yes.
At the light rail.
Yes.
You are having. If I have to come out my door and I see all the activities, it would make me nervous.
Yep.
And then say you have the trail and things, people are going to be walking and running and doing different things. So
Yep.
What
The-
kind
the
of
question-
facilities gonna be in-
For Bill Online, the question was, what's going to be done about the conditions at the light rail stop, which are currently very, let's just say, chaotic and scary?
Well, they have pretty much from the light rail all the way up even where
Yeah.
I live.
Yeah.
They have pretty much taken over.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
And it is absolutely horrible
Right.
coming out the system.
I agree. It is a shocking condition and nobody, first of all, I have a lot of empathy for the people who are suffering, but I have also tremendous empathy for the people who are living amid that, trying to figure out how to live their lives with that much.
And it's crazy because, we've had that kind of activity, but not at this.
Yes.
level.
No, it is.
It's unreal.
Yeah.
It is unreal.
Yeah, I agree completely. There is currently a, this is going to require kind of full of community response, right? There's no one person who can wave a magic wand to make that happen. There's a new sub cabinet that was formed by the mayor, the South Baltimore sub cabinet, and there are meetings where Monzi and the Southern District and the Department of Planning and the Office of Homeless Services and us and other agencies get together trying to address these questions. Literally this week, I was yesterday. Well, it's been a long week. Literally yesterday, we were reading through the legal documents for the platform when the light rail was built to try and figure out who has legal responsibility for the platform, who has legal responsibility for the tracks, how do we get and get each one to be at the table. So this is going to be something which is going to take some time to deal with, but I think that part of
last year was on Father's Day, right? Man, we was down there. It was man. We were sitting in the middle of the hall.
Hi, mute your phone.
Okay, thank you. I think that just as the problem gets worse and the problems proliferate, as we begin to come up with solutions, the solutions will converge and help to streamline the problem, not eliminate it. So, for example, if we can get vacant houses secured, then
We've had several fires.
right, then we can't have people. Then people won't be able to squat in them.
Right.
If we can get those houses converted to occupants,
Sure.
then there are fewer places for people struggling with addiction and homelessness to inhabit. If we can get the city and state agencies to be more heavily involved in a compassionate but decisive way, that will help as well. And the more activity we can bring to the area, I always believe that just like sunshine is the best disinfectant, like activity in life makes places better. And so we want to be trying to do all of these things all at one time. It won't happen overnight, but I agree with you. The conditions are intolerable.
And so your committee that you have, is there anyone from the community on that committee?
So that is an interagency working group designed to mobilize the city agencies, and we've been invited just because we're very involved at the community level. So that's a staff level, but absolutely none of this happens without the community leadership. So we need to make sure that there are, and I think that we've already been organizing safety walks and other events that may have already happened recently or are about to happen. And all of that requires active community participation, otherwise it goes to.
So I want to ask that each time you guys get together for that meeting, that we can have some type of feedback from what comes from the meeting.
Yeah.
An email or something to give us, a little bit of what's,
It's a great idea.
progress is.
It's a great idea. Yep, that's a great idea.
And there's, twice a year, we have a presentation in front of the mayor and all of the agency heads down at City Hall.
Okay.
And so, and that's open to the public. So we just had one in May, and we're gonna have another one in 6 months' time, October. So yeah, those are welcome. Public is welcome to join those, and we can share the meeting notes from that as well, so we can circulate that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm Natalie Cohen. I'm with the Department of Planning of the city.
Right. And that interagency, I totally see you. I just want to finish my thought. that interagency task force, the sub-cabinet, working group is led by Jasmine Kimball, the Southern District Planner, who represents this neighborhood. So she's unfortunately on vacation right now. But when she gets back, we should ask her, would it be possible for her to, and we can figure out who the notes should be distributed to, but she could let people know what we're working on, what we're trying to make happen. So
And
it's not,
of course, to forward out information that's on our sign-in,
Mhm.
you know, as far as email and stuff like that, so.
That's a good idea. Yep, that's a great idea. And maybe both you could be helpful in also distributing that information.
Yeah.
That'd be great. Sure, I apologize.
No, it's interesting, but, going back to the question that, Joseph mentioned, with respect to what's happening, out there on Sydney, also on the light rail. You mentioned that there are interagencies, conversation happening. How do the community be part, not from the interagency, but directly connected to what South Baltimore, the Gateway Partnership is doing, and really trying to help solving that problem, because it's become almost a state of desolation.
Yeah.
When you walk through these neighborhoods and be able to breathe that type of activities incessantly, where you have kids walking through that neighborhood.
Yeah.
And we really have to address it, because if we want development to happen, those type of what we call systematic disparity has to be addressed.
I agree completely. So we have here member representatives from Eden Community Ventures, a neighborhood-based nonprofit organization trying to address some of these issues. I would just ask if you wanted to set up a meeting, I would.
I am the CEO.
Oh, yours. Oh, okay. Sorry, I didn't. We've actually never met before. That's fantastic. So sorry. So you know Faith then, of course, right? So.
Yeah.
Okay, I apologize. I missed a chance to meet with you earlier. It's funny. So Cyrus, what I would say then is, please lead us. We will be at your direction, available to have these conversations, convene the community, and we're glad to be there, and we can even sandwiches if that's helpful.
Hope has been trying for a long time. We are glad to help.
Got a commitment tonight from Brad that we're moving forward, right? The follow up, yeah. Got it. Thank you, Brad.
Thank you, Hope.
We're good?
Okay.
No other questions in the room? Nothing online? Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Please, like I said, take advantage of the food and share it with anybody you think might put it to good use. If you have any questions, and you don't, you're welcome to reach out to us anytime at South Baltimore Gateway Partnership. If you have any issues, reach out to Hope. Hope can get through to us very easily. And we just appreciate your taking time to come out.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Open stuff.
Okay.